Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to episode 14 of the Weekly Wob. Thanks for coming and watching. What's up, Jake?
Remote learning sucks.
Dude, remote learning does suck.
Today was our first day of synchronous.
Asynchronous? I don't know. We do
That's
Zoom
what it's
meetings
not.
all
That's what
day.
okay. Yeah, Zoom meetings all day. For 30 minutes. Each class is 30 minutes. And they're not fun.
Not at all.
I mean, today was just like an orientation day, like, hey, this is what we're doing. This is how it's going to work. But it was basically our teachers telling us that they don't know how to use Zoom. So it's a learning process for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Like, it's just boring. Like, me and Jake were texting each other throughout the whole day, just complaining about every single class.
It was not fun. And I feel like they had a whole summer to familiarize themselves with Zoom or Google Meet or just anything to teach virtually. And I don't know, I don't feel like there's not a lot of preparation done there. Obviously they had this whole plan, which is great and all, but it can't be put into effect, efficiently if my gym teacher's like, well, I'm horrible with technology, so you have to give me a week or so to get used to it. I don't know.
We love that.
Those are my thoughts on it.
We love teachers not knowing what to do.
Some of them didn't know what to do, though, so that's cool.
Yeah, I had like 2 or 3 teachers that knew what they were doing, but then the rest were just like, what's a Zoom? My English teacher was talking about boomers and zoomers today, and my whole class was kind of like, boy, what you talking about? It just had nothing to do with anything. She was just like, yeah, we're all gonna be zoomers now, boomers, zoomers, yeah. And I was just like, someone needs to catch up on their memes.
Dang, bro.
But yeah. So, Jake, at the time of recording this, it's not that date, but when this is posted, it is going to be 9/11, which is very sad. So, 19 years ago, 2 planes crashed into each of the Twin Towers, one in each of them, and one of them crashed into the Pentagon. There was a fourth that was either going to go for the White House or the Capitol building.
Yeah, right.
But then the passengers hijacked it and crashed it into a field in Pennsylvania, which I think I've actually been to.
Nice.
Like a while ago. But almost 3,000 people died from that, and over 6,000 were injured. So thank you to all the first responders for putting your lives out there, and our sorrows go out to everyone who has lost a life from 9/11.
We lost a family member and, all that.
You did?
Friend, etc.
Oh. I'm sorry.
Well, that was very serious until you went, I'm sorry.
Well, yeah. I don't know. We're usually not serious here.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's kind of something that we felt like we should say, considering the date.
Anyway,
our friend Tommy last week, who was on our podcast, him and his friend made their own podcast, and their first episode was posted on Wednesday at 8 o'clock at night. So if you want to go check them out, show them some love, their link will be in the description below. They are the 90% pod, but the whole thing is about politics. So if you're not into that kind of stuff, just don't watch it.
We'll watch it anyway because it's our friends, and that's cool.
Yeah. We are friendly towards other podcasts.
Unless they're mean to us, in which case we will battle
to the death.
Well, I didn't want to bring it that far, but okay.
Well, it would happen, you know.
Yeah.
So, right before recording this, I chugged 2 Sunny D's.
It was pretty funny. It was pretty funny.
I don't know what it was about the second one, but when I was doing the second one, Jake just started like dying of laughter because of the noise that I was making.
You had a really weird noise, bro. I don't know. The first one was like silent, and then the second one, you sounded like a dog, like looking at water. And I'm like,
I have the 2 bottles right here.
Very nice, very nice.
But yeah, so I'm kind of expecting a big burp to come sometime soon, you know.
And when it happens, I hope it's during the middle of something important. So.
And if it is, we'll make a joke out of it, because, you know.
Because it's funny.
Boyo.
Alright, well. Yeah.
Well, pretty much. So apparently there was an earthquake today.
Oh, yo, you're right. Okay, so around 2 a.m., Wednesday morning, there was an earthquake. It ranks 3.1 on the scale, and it was in Monmouth County, which is like pretty much middle of New Jersey-ish, close to New York. Yeah, I didn't feel it because I was asleep at 2 a.m., but supposedly a lot of people felt it. Did you feel it, Travis?
I went to sleep like way before then, so I did not feel it.
Yeah, that happened. That was cool.
Yeah, Jake said it earlier, and I was like, boy, what? There was no earthquake.
Yeah, I got an email about it from some like news thing I'm subscribed to. I don't know about like damages or people getting hurt or anything. I didn't read that far into the article, but if anyone did get hurt by it, sorry.
F in the chat.
That's very disrespectful of you, Travis.
We're bad at being serious.
I've noticed.
But yeah,
about dumb stuff.
Without further ado, we should introduce our guest for this week. So, Mike, hello.
What up?
The legend.
Mike is one of the techs at our drumline. He techs the pit, which is, pretty dope.
And before we start, I just want to ask Mike, would you prefer Mike or Magic Mike?
Mike is fine.
Okay.
Anyone has ever called me Magic Mike in my whole life.
Nice nickname.
Well,
and a good movie.
It is. So, to get started, we're going to do the random word game where we go to the random word website, choose a word, and make a random conversation out of it. So, are you all ready?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
The random word is range.
Range?
Yeah. I work at a gun range. That's kind of dope.
You?
Yeah.
Oh.
I worked all Memorial Day weekend, and it was very tiring.
You mean Labor Day weekend?
Yeah, I'm kind of dumb.
Memorial Day was a while ago, Chief.
Yeah, it's Labor Day. But it's kind of fire there. It'd be hot, though.
Because of the fire?
Yeah, exactly.
That makes sense.
Actually, there's a clubhouse there where, everyone signs in, but the old clubhouse actually burned down, a while ago.
Oh.
So technically there was fire there. So range.
I'm trying to think about range. There's this range in math. It's like
Math is disgusting.
all the y coordinates, right?
I just thought about a range of notes. Like singers will have a range.
Yeah. Singers have a vocal range.
I'm sure they do.
Wow, this was not a very good word.
What's your vocal range?
My vocal range is dead.
Home on the range?
Oh, I got a story about that. In third grade, my not math, just my teacher for third grade, she would, if anyone forgot what range was, like in math, she would sing "Home on the Range" to remind us of what range it is. And not to be rude, but nobody likes it when your teacher sings, unless it's like the choir teacher. So, yeah, you can imagine
Third graders.
Third graders were singing, but you know what? It got us to remember what range was, so I can't blame her on that one.
Oh, dude, this has nothing to do with range, but do you remember like all the songs that? Well, there are like two of them, but the songs that Miss Loring had us learn last year.
Yes.
Yes.
Mike, do you remember that?
But I also had Miss Loring as a teacher.
Wait, you did?
Yeah.
It was
for Algebra 1.
What was the song? It was like negative b plus or minus square root.
B squared minus 4ac divided
The quadratic formula? I don't remember what it is, but I remember the song.
Quadratic formula, yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like there was another, but
there was definitely another. I have no idea what it was though,
because
that was the point in the year where things started to get crazy.
Because they're Rona.
But I do remember there was another song. Yeah.
Is it raining?
It might be.
Dude, I hear rain.
I think I can hear the gutters up there. Oh well. It's raining.
At least it didn't happen during band practice today.
Yeah, that would have sucked.
I mean, the practice kind of sucked anyway.
We got stuff done.
We did get stuff done.
Matt got a migraine, and then we just kind of.
Yeah. So the two songs that we were doing were "Kids" by the Frights.
Yeah.
And then "White Marks" by Rich People.
Yeah.
And that was just a whole mess for both songs. We got Kids done.
I don't think that was that bad.
Songs.
You should go follow the UV Sound and listen to them.
Well, we didn't
on
post
Instagram.
Them, so you can't listen to them.
When they get posted, go follow UV Sound. Link in description. Shameless plugs.
And you know what? You're gonna stop doing it.
Yeah, so I mean, range definitely wasn't a good word, but we got some stuff out of it,
I got a pretty good story out of it.
It's a fairly basic word. Not a whole lot of depth there.
Yeah. So Mike, now we just got like some questions lined up for you. That would be, pretty cool if you could answer.
Do I get scored?
Yes, you do. You get scored on each question.
So A to F.
So. The first question, me and Jake actually thought of like an hour ago when we realized when the podcast was going to be posted. But where were you on 9/11 when the planes crashed?
So I was in third grade at the time, and I was just in school, like walking into school. And I didn't realize anything had happened until after I got home from school. I know that day a lot of parents had like taken their kids out because of what was going on. It was kind of national breaking news. But that didn't happen to me. I just went about the day and didn't really know what was going on because I was like 9 at the time until I got home, and then I saw everything happening. So yeah, it was 3rd grade school day.
Just a regular old school day.
Yeah.
I give that story about a 7.
I said 8.
It's not a very exciting story.
Okay.
My part of the story is very minimal.
How does a 9-year-old see that though?
It was kind of, it's kind of crazy to think about. As far as like historical events go, I remember just trying to learn about. I didn't even know like what the World Trade Center was until that day, because and it's funny because like New Jersey is right next to New York, and anybody that I know now who lives in North Jersey or that area, it was like much more of a big deal because the city is like such a big presence there in the north part of here, as it's like Philly is to us. So it's kind of like you're become much more world aware of like what is going on in the world at a young age. So it's kind of like, I don't know, like what is like a 3rd grader now think of what's happening with the pandemic? Totally different event, but like historically pretty significant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, next question we got is, what instruments do you play, and like what's your primary instrument?
Yeah, I play a few to varying degrees of proficiency. My main instrument has always been percussion, which I guess is a few instruments. But my first instrument was actually mallet percussion. So 5th grade, I started on the little bell set that you rent from a music store or such, and then I just kind of kept going that way. Uh, Middle school, high school was in percussion sections of band, and then marching band drumline, playing different mallet instruments. So marimba, xylophone, vibraphone. It wasn't until I got to college that I actually branched out into different instruments, because to be a percussion major, at least at the colleges I auditioned at, you need classical snare drum, timpani, and a mallet instrument. So I also played drum set, which I've never. Sorry, it's late. You guys do these late?
We do them really late.
Yeah, we wait till our
Maybe I'm just
families go
old.
to sleep.
I see. Yeah, I also played drum set. That was kind of a thing I just picked up along the way. So lots of different percussion. I play guitar, which is always kind of just like a hobby instrument. Like I never took lessons on guitar. So like all the study education I did was in percussion. Guitar was just kind of fun hobby. A little piano, because I had to take piano 1 and 2 in college, but I'm not a good piano player.
Cool.
And that's pretty much it.
It's a lot of instruments.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question we got is, when did you start playing music?
I might answer that. 5th grade.
Fifth
5th grade after school. More plumbing.
GT's where it's at. It's weird to think that like you went to our schools.
Some of them.
Some of them, like saying like school district.
Yeah. It is strange though, like seeing like coming back to the school you went to. Remember the first time I like came back as a instructor for drum? Like you guys weren't there at the time. It was like 2016. And like I came back in the room and I was like, wow, this is weird. I guess I'll go teach now.
Okay. Next question is, how did you get into music?
as a player, as like just a listener. It's kind of, I guess, playing. I got into it from, I think the music teacher who came and taught at our school was Mr. Nichols. Did you guys go to Lewis or Glen
Lewis.
Lewis. I think Mr. Nichols is the name of the guy at Lewis, and he was the one who like would come after school to teach the fifth graders, and his wife, I think, was the other teacher. So I think in fifth grade, or maybe a little earlier than that, they like came around, was like, "Hey, come join this thing," and I was like, "All right, I'll come play an instrument." And I ended up on mallet percussion. It was me and one other kid, and there was like 15 drummers like on practice pads, and then like 2 mallet players. So that's when I first got into playing and like learning as a musician. But I mean, music was kind of just around my whole life. You know, like humans just love music, listening to it. I don't have any other musicians in the family besides my brother, who kind of got into it after I did. But prior to that, it wasn't. My dad sort of played saxophone, but he wasn't very good at it. He just kind of like would try to teach himself saxophone. So when I was a kid, I would like sometimes hear him like squeaking out notes. But yeah, fifth grade was pretty much when I first got into it.
It's pretty early.
Yeah, I guess it was 11. So 16 years ago.
Wow.
You know, like people talk about how they've started at such a young age, and sometimes I wish I started. Well, I did start younger, but then I gave up on it. And I'm always just like, I wish I didn't give up on it, because I was taking guitar lessons at like 8 or 9, but then I never wanted to play guitar, so I just quit my lessons and I quit playing guitar, and then it just sat in my room for years and years until I decided freshman year of high school to take a guitar class again, which was pretty cool. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and 11's not even like that young to start. Like, there's kids that look up on like YouTube or whatever, just like kids that are prodigies at like 5 or 6. You know?
Yeah.
That was Trina. She's already played for like her entire life.
It is pretty crazy what she can do.
She can do a lot. Playing trombone while on the drum set at the trumpet, not trombone. But there's a video of her on the music page of her just on the kit, like doing a groove while playing the trumpet.
Of course there is.
Why would there not be?
It's Trina.
Yeah, man.
But how did you find drumline?
I found, so when I first came to Highland, I was just in the concert band class, and I didn't know that drumline existed before I started taking that class. And then one of the other guys in the percussion section, and his name was Sunquan, he was like, "Oh, you should come out and like join the indoor drumline. Like, practice on like Tuesday and Thursday, because we've been practicing on Tuesday and Thursday for years." And I couldn't join that year for whatever reason, but then I ended up joining marching band the following season. So like going into my sophomore year, pre-sophomore year that summer is when I started marching band, and then after that I just kind of kept going drumline every year.
It's nice. Pretty fire.
Yeah.
Why did you want to start teaching music?
You know, I didn't like set out to start teaching, or like plan on teaching really. Like when I was in high school, I was kind of thinking like, what do I want to do in college? And I found a music major that wasn't teaching, because I was like, I don't feel like I would be effective as a teacher, or like I don't feel like that's like where I really want to go. So I majored in sound engineering as a music major, and then after I graduated, I came back home to live with my family, And I think I was hanging out with JC, Nick Dow, and maybe some other Highland alumni. And they're like, hey, Highland needs a pit tech. Do you want to do it? It's like, sure. So, so I kind of just fell into it that way. And we had a meeting with like Anthony and Ashley Hearing was teaching at the time, and JC and some other people, and I just kind of ended up starting there in 2016. So I kind of was away from marching music and South Jersey for the most part for like my college years, and then I came back to it as an instructor in 2016 season.
Nice.
Where do you go to college?
William Patterson. It's in Wayne, New Jersey, which is like 2 hours north of here.
I got you. Well, you kind of already answered our next question, but it was Highland your first like teaching gig?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go Tartans. But
Sorry.
what was your favorite show of all time that like you've either been a part of or like teched or that you've seen?
When I first heard you say show, I thought you meant like TV show, and then I heard the rest of the crap.
Well, I'll ask that too, though. Also a good question.
My favorite, so like that I've played in or taught or just seen, or like one of each. I'll just do one of each.
Okay.
The favorite show I played in, probably my senior year for drumline. It was called Simple, which is it was written by a outside company that I think called Box 6 did it. So we like purchased that show and then kind of like molded it to our own needs and like messed with stuff and like the visual aspects of it. Since then, Anthony and various other writers like Eric and JC have like written our shows, but at that year we bought one and kind of just modified it, I guess. I didn't buy it because I was a student. But that year was cool because just I was a senior. I thought I was like the best at my playing ability, you know. And I had a short solo in it. My brother was in it. A lot of my good friends were in it, or friends that I had been playing with for a few years. So you just get like used to the people you're playing with. So that's probably my favorite playing wise. Teaching's a little tougher. I like the first year I taught just because I was like trying to really be a good tech because I was like, I'm not really sure what I'm doing yet, so just kind of winging it half the time. So it was just kind of, it was a good experience to be on that for the first time. Unstable was a good year. I feel like we had a real good group of kids, and they really like the finished product of it was like really good. They were all like at a really good. Were you in that show, Travis?
I was not.
No. Now I'm forgetting how many shows I've actually taught at for that one. But yeah, they kind of all the ones I've taught so far since 2016 have been like good. I can't think of a year that's been like crappy.
Sweet dreams.
Even so, I feel like there's always like the students or like moments that are like cool.
Yeah.
Like that, I remember that show. Like there was a lot of like polyrhythmic stuff going on that I don't think we had messed with too much before. Like 4/3 type rhythms, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Sweet Dreams was a good show, just wasn't portrayed well.
Wasn't there. Sorry.
You guys know what I'm talking about. Jake, go watch every Highland Indoor show for the past 10 years.
I have watched some of them, but I haven't gone back that far yet.
Me and Matt did that one night. We watched all the way from like Carnival to probably like 2006. It's like we saw Simple.
Were they all there?
A lot of them were there. There were a couple years that like didn't have one, but we watched as many as we could. Yeah. What was your favorite moment teaching at Highland?
Favorite moment? I feel like my I guess I wasn't actively teaching this moment, but anytime at finals where after you guys are done playing and like a kid will like come up and be like just thanks me for like whatever I did to either help them like grow as a player or whatever like knowledge you impart on them. Getting like knowing that you had an effect on like somebody that like is similar to what you went through, like oh, like my teacher had a good impact on my life. That's always like a cool moment. So I guess there's been a couple of those, but anytime that happens.
That sounds like a good moment.
Yeah, for sure. I'm trying to relate that to something like, Trav and I can.
It's also cool when even on a smaller scale where you're like trying to teach somebody something that they don't know yet and then they finally get it.
Yeah.
Those moments do feel pretty nice.
They do. Just like that one moment where you're like, yes, finally got it.
Yeah. And it's kind of like I saw this post by a different professor of mine who was talking about the student teacher relationship, and he was like, yeah, at first I thought it was like 50-50 between like the effort of like the student getting better is like 50 on the teacher and 50 on the student, but then it's really like 90 on the student and 10% on the teacher. Like all the drive and effort kind of has to come from the person who's trying to learn and get better, and then like of course you like would need somebody to tell you how to get better, and but it's really like all the effort to do it, like all the practice has to come from the student.
Yeah, I feel that. Okay. So, what have you been up to during quarantine?
Yeah.
Not much. I mean, March, like that second week in March was kind of a whirlwind, and I'm unemployed right now, so I haven't been working. I have been just trying to stay sane and just try to keep myself occupied. I've been watching TV, uh, going on little hikes and stuff, trying to get outdoors. It's crazy to think that there's been multiple seasons that we've gone through.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've tried to see a couple friends like outdoors. I try to stay responsible. Trying to get some stuff done around the house. Our garbage disposal in our kitchen broke like a couple weeks ago, and so let's put a new one in there. But yeah, I've just been trying to keep myself busy for the most part.
For 6 months.
Yeah, it's crazy because like I wasn't fired or anything at my job. I kind of, to explain what I do is I work at a couple different theaters, mostly at Drexel University in Princeton, in their theaters, doing audio, like live sounds type stuff for events. And like the week where like your school shut down and kind of everybody's school shut down, I was like supposed to do a play and it got canceled at the last couple. And so I was never like fired or anything, but the way I work is like on an hourly or per show basis. So if my boss doesn't have anything for me to do, I just don't go into work.
Yeah, so
Okay, wait. I got a question now. So I feel like I don't ask questions often on this show, man.
might be
Travis always has all the questions lined up. I'm just sitting there like, yeah,
I got the
that
notes.
question. But so I have a picture of Mike, and I don't think I can send it over here, so I'm gonna text it to our group chat that we made the other day.
Is it me
And
with long hair?
um, I'll let it speak for itself. I just want to know the story behind it once it goes through, and we can put it on the, editing and throw it in there.
It'll be on the screen right about here.
Yeah,
I
so
don't
that's
know. There we go.
I'm looking at a picture on my phone. That's
All right.
me at a gig with my high school band. Well, high school. I think I probably just graduated, but my band that formed when we were in high school, and I'm playing guitar, and yeah, we were like outside. I think it was like at a cafe in Collingswood or something,
Right.
and we were just playing some tunes outside. The band was called Trip to Pluto, and it was uh, me and just like some other friends who were in a jazz band and like the Highland music program.
Right.
Just
Right.
formed a band, sort of like you guys, but we did kind of covers of like different like funk and like some jazz standards and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
We only did ever like 2 or 3 gigs, and then it kind of just dissolved.
The
Yeah.
name of your band is very similar to the name of our first album.
We're working on an album in our
Is it?
band, and
So,
it's like,
so the band name I didn't come up with. Our first gig we had was at there was this art gallery, and I think it was someplace in Gloucester Township, like near Crosskeys Road. There was this art gallery they had like just opened, and we were playing the opening for it. And the mayor came by, like Mayor, and he like asked us what our band name was, and we're like, well, we don't actually have one yet. So we're like kind of discussing like, what the band name was. And then I went to the bathroom, and I came back, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna call the band like Trip to Pluto. I was like, cool.
Yeah,
uh,
we'll tell you the name of the album after we're done recording because
we
I'm trying to keep that a secret for now.
Great.
But yeah. So earlier we kind of asked what your favorite drumline show was, but what's your favorite TV show?
Good
let's circle
TV
back
show.
for that.
Hmm. This is a tough one. There's definitely like shows that I enjoy the whole way through, and then shows where like you enjoy it at the beginning and then like it sucks at the end, or like vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I really like Breaking Bad and the sequel to it that's still ongoing, but like not right now, is Better Call Saul. It's probably
Mm-hmm.
one of the few shows that I like on cable that I still like will watch when it comes on, or when it was coming on. Better Call Saul. Um, I rewatched Avatar: The Last Airbender recently because it came back on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
So I don't know if you guys watched. You were probably too young, or but I remember watching it when it first came on Nickelodeon, and like when it aired. But I definitely like didn't see every episode because I was rewatching. I was like, I totally don't remember this episode. So it was cool to like go through it all again.
yeah.
Avatar's a really good show.
Yeah, I just went through it with my brother. It was his second time going through it. Because he just, you know, he started school this week rather than, we started last week. So he spent his few extra days binge watching Avatar. And, it was cool. It was cool.
Now,
And
Mike,
with the Avatar sometimes. And so, yeah.
have you seen the live action movie?
No.
Good for you. It's horrible.
That's
Recommend.
that's every opinion I've heard about it is that it's bad. So
Like,
I don't feel the need to watch it.
good. They literally pronounce Aang's name Ong.
That's just wrong.
Why would he pronounce it Ong when in the show it
You're
clearly says Aang?
If you're basing it off the show, it has to, retain similarity.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just be
And
we're
then
gonna
just like
change this.
the bending, just like you could totally tell it was CGI. Like obviously it was, but it was just like not good editing. The bending was just dumb.
Well, when was it made though?
Um, let's find out. Avatar: The Last Airbender
I think the
live
show came out in like 05, right?
Yeah.
live action movie. It came out in 2010,
Okay. Well,
10 years ago.
obviously, CGI has advanced very much since 2010.
True.
They're able to CGI Harrison Ford in the Star Wars movies now. But I don't know.
Now they're coming out with the live action show, which I'm hoping it'll still be good, even though,
Yeah.
yeah. But the thing that was going to be so good about the live action remake is that the original creators of Avatar were working on it, and Netflix said that they could have like a bunch of creative control, but apparently like they didn't live up to that, so the original creators left. So now a bunch of people are kind of afraid that's going to be another live action movie situation, which is bad.
One of those memes where it's like original anime, Netflix adaptation. The
Yeah.
adaptation is obviously bad.
Yeah, I feel like
Uh,
big companies just trying to cash in on something never ends well if you're just in it for the money.
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah. My parents watch like Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, and they really like it.
How's Pam?
She's good.
Yeah.
She's working from home.
Right now?
Not right now, but
Because you looked over like she was like working.
I looked at the dining room because like that's where she works. But then I realized that you guys just can't see
Wow.
anything that's over there. But yeah, she's been working. She actually has the next 2 days off. But
Is your dad working from home?
no, he works at like a book manufacturing company where like they ship out books to like Barnes and Noble and like other places like that. So that's not exactly something you can do from home. But he has like the next week off, but then he has to go back in.
Nice.
Nice.
What were we talking about before that?
TV shows.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There's all these cable shows that people watch, and I'm just like, sorry, we quit cable like 5 years ago. So it's just like our Comcast bill is getting overly expensive for whatever reason. So I'm just like, we'll just quit it and we'll get Netflix. And we lived off Netflix for a while and YouTube, and then we got Amazon Prime. And then last Christmas we got Disney Plus, which my grandmom pays for. So
There's so many now.
that's cool. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like you really like don't need cable because of how many streaming platforms there are.
Yeah. It's just like it's a matter of which is more cost efficient. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. So, Mike, do you think that we're gonna have a drumline season this year?
I mean, that's a good question.
I don't know.
Valid.
I mean, like we're having a football season, which I don't really get. Like, I
Yeah,
don't
like
know how safe that can be.
it's not safe at all.
Yeah, it's hard to say because like live music in general is just up in the air right now.
Hmm.
Yeah, but like, how are they just gonna have a football season? Like, high school kids like con being in contact with other kids that like aren't even in their school.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, and you
yes,
gotta trust that everyone's being safe about it because yes, they COVID test, but it's not an in-depth test. It's just take your temperature and ask if you feel sick. Or at least that's what I've heard that it is.
Hmm.
Because I'm not going into the school at all. I mean, I guess my first time going to the school will be for pep band because I do want to try that, and I
do
figure
they
it's
make
not.
you guys as students or on the teams get like the swab test up the nose?
I
I have no idea.
don't know.
I haven't talked to anyone on like any sports team about anything like that because at least
Yeah.
like because I went to school last Monday. They're just at the front doors. They have like a temperature check thing. Put it against your forehead. You get your temperature. If it's normal, they're like, do you feel any of these symptoms? And then there's just like a billboard list like right there, and you're just like, nope. And then you just get to go inside the building.
I,
It's like someone could be asymptomatic, temperature
it,
could be fine, not feeling any symptoms, and then you just let them in the school.
it's
Yeah, I knew
really
Rite Aid was
a
doing tests.
test.
So like I got one at Rite Aid in July, and I was negative. But I feel like they should probably just do that for everybody,
They should.
at least students going back to school.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How did it feel getting a test?
It was weird. They like it was like outdoors in the parking lot, so they like hand you this kit and like talk you through it, but you like put the thing up your nose, and so like it feels uncomfortable, and then you just kind of swirl it and hold it
Oh,
there, and then do the other one.
oh,
It wasn't
oh.
like awful, but it was weird. It was weird.
Yeah.
That just sounds like uncomfortable. That like gives me goosebumps.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I have to assume that like athletes' COVID tests are a little more in depth because like I guess I'll keep with football, but like if you're one of those players that are just rubbing up against some other person all the time, like if you're on like an offensive line or the defensive line, and you're just like
And football's a contact sport.
yeah all the time, just you just it has to be like 100%, and I don't know if it can be that.
Yeah, it's
And then
strange to
also,
think of like pro sports like baseball with like the no fans in the stadium, but they have like the cutouts of
yeah,
fans, and they're
yeah.
like getting tested all the time, and
Hmm.
players are still sometimes getting sick, or the staff is sometimes getting sick
Hmm. Yeah.
on like the major league level or the pro level. So
Hmm. And like, I'm pretty sure like I brought up this point on the podcast before, but football is obviously a contact sport, but they were allowed to have like full blown practice, like using the the offensive line tool where it's just like the thing right there that they like ram into.
Big guy they run into, yeah.
Yeah. And so like they are allowed to use their equipment, but the tennis team, which is a non contact sport, weren't even allowed to like touch the tennis balls for weeks. They just had to do like all like cardio stuff. So like how are they gonna let a contact sport have like a regular practice, but a non contact sport is literally having the main part of the game stripped away from them?
I don't have an answer for you.
Yeah. It's just it feels like it boils down to, priorities of the school, taking pride in their football team because high school football is, a big thing. I don't know. There's a
And
lot more
our
people who care about high school tennis.
Yeah. I mean,
true.
I feel like a lot of the decisions about what can and can't happen have to come up from like a higher up. So like, I don't know, like superintendents or even like state level people of schools. And like, if like the higher up you are, the less aware you are of like the actual goings on of like, wait, we're not actually touching the other tennis player or whatever. Like, I guess you're like touching the ball and whatever. So
Hmm.
like,
That
so
makes
like the
sense.
details don't get thought out by that.
Yeah.
I'm just rambling.
Same here. Well,
I feel like
I
Pep
guess.
should be. I'm not done yet, Travis.
Okay, Jake.
Still
I'm
rambling.
sorry.
Come on, dude.
I just want to mention that like yeah, I said I'm fully remote, but I'm gonna try Pep Band just because it can be outside and you know it can be safe in theory as long as it's handled well and everybody's fine. But
How are you guys doing? So this is a question for the music, since you guys are music students. Like, is T still renting out instruments to kids, or do they like keep them?
Yes, he is still renting instruments out to kids. They have to like, because I'm in intro to music, which is like for new kids learning how to play an instrument, but for like kids who are in concert band, it's just to practice their main instrument. So in intro, during our Google Zoom thing today, he told all the new kids that they have to like choose their instruments by today, so he can like give it to the school so they can watch it, so they can pick it up on like I think Monday is the designated day to pick them up. But like, yeah, he's still renting out instruments to students.
So for like pep band, are you guys using the marching drums?
Yes,
Is everybody
but
like assigned their own drum and like pair of sticks? I guess.
I'm assuming so. Yeah.
I mean, in theory, nobody has to touch somebody else's drum.
Hmm.
It could, it would take longer, but yeah, it could work either way.
Yeah, like whoever's like at the top, like the snares would have to get their drum first, then like
Mhm.
all the basses would have to get theirs one by one, then the tenors, then it's going to be a long process, but they're making it work.
Yep. Well, now,
Well,
Travis, you can say what you're gonna say.
I was about to say, you guys ready for story time?
Story time.
Story
Never.
time.
Okay.
Would either of you guys like to go first?
I don't have a story yet, so no.
Jake, you've known about this for a week. How do you not have a story?
Let alone, the beginning of this podcast. Do I ever have about a story? No.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'll go first. So, for reasons, this story is going to be very undetailed, but it's going to be hilarious, I think. So, I had this friend,
You had a friend.
and when me and this friend were really close, their mom said that they'd bring food to my house just for like my family to share. But then me and this friend got in an argument, and we weren't exactly like on talking terms with each other. But still after that, their mom brought the food to my house, which my family was kind of like, wow, it's kind of weird. Y'all are like in an argument right now. But nonetheless, took the food, and then my dad, ate the food and then got sick. Like he's feeling kind of under the weather that day, but like that food kind of like pushed him to throw up.
Oh,
And then
Drew.
we kind of all made the joke that my friend's mom gave my dad food poisoning because of the fight that me and my friend had. Complete joke. It didn't happen, but it's just funny to say that it happened.
Myth busted.
So which one of you guys wants to go next?
I'll go next.
Okay.
All right. So I'll tell a story from today
Ooh.
in
Current
online
events.
class. So I was in class was saying I was in English, right? And so and the teacher is going through the syllabus, and then she was talking about like just Zoom etiquette, and the slideshow was very interesting to say the least. Like, she'd go to one slide, and there you see Mr. T pointing at you with a sign, like, not Highland Mr. T, the famous Mr. T.
I pity a fool.
Yes, I pitied the fool because he had a sign behind him that said, fools, and it had that circle with the line through it. And she's talking about how, like, don't be foolish on Zoom. But I just thought it was really funny that Mr. T made it into a English presentation about being, you know, behaved on Zoom.
And then not the same presentation, but the other presentation with the dude in the
Oh,
chair.
yeah. And before this presentation, there was another one that was posted during the summer about being, Zoom etiquette. And it said, to dress properly for Zoom. And I had a picture of a man sitting naked in a chair in front of his computer. And, like, you couldn't really see his butt or anything. But just, like, the thought of it was really weird to me and Travis.
Mm-hmm.
So
Like
we
it
looked
had
at it
like
together.
one of those circle things with the crossing, and the cross like went like straight through his cheek. It was hilarious.
Uh, so that's my story. Really weird English presentations. Just to let kids know to not be dumb on Zoom. I guess it gets the point across. Because,
It does.
you remember Mr. T and the Naked Man, and you're like, oh, gotta put on a shirt before Zoom. Um, wasn't a great story, but, oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
laughed.
Okay. Final story.
All right. This is a sort of a live music story because I've just been missing live music in general for the past few months. So I guess this is in 2014 time frame. Me and my roommate at the time went to see this show. The band was Bad Religion, and The Offspring was also headlining. I think it was like co-headlining or something. And it was the outdoor stage at the Electric Factory in Philly, which they renamed it since then. We're at this show. It's pretty packed. People are dancing, moshing. It's having a great time. I'm not a huge Offspring fan. I mainly was there to see Bad Religion, and they were great. And the Offspring went on last. And me and my friend got separated in the shows because it's a punk show and people were moving around a whole lot and everything. So we're in the pit, and people are going crazy for the Offspring, like more so than I would have imagined. And anyway, me and this other guy butt heads in the pit, and I'm like, oh, it's like total accident. I'm like, oh, are you okay? Like, you okay? And like total fine, total accident. We go about our ways, and like the next song comes on, and like I feel like my face is like getting kind of wet. And like I like think it's like sweat or something, and I wipe it like and I'm bleeding. I was like, oh crap! I'm like bleeding from the forehead, and some other dude is like, what? He like points at me and is like, yeah, I don't know. And then he takes my shirt sleeve, rips it off, and ties it around my forehead. So I'm like bleeding from my eyebrow. my shirt sleeve tied around my forehead. I was like, "Oh, thanks, man." I was like pointing out, like, "Oh, you want to crowd surf?" I'm like, "Sure." And then I crowd surfed out of the show, and that was pretty much like the last song. I went inside to the bathroom after that song ended, and then I think they played like one more, and that was it. So yeah, I ended up getting stitches after that show. But yeah, great concert. You can't really see it now, but for a little while after that, I had a scar over my eyebrow. If you look really closely, you could probably see it. Yeah, cool concert story.
You know, I've always kind of wanted to have that experience at a concert, but I just, never been able to afford to get seats in the pit because
Yeah, this was like all general admission, so like it was
okay,
outside. So kind of like wherever you were was where you were.
cool, yeah.
Cool. Well, that's about it. Mike, thank you for coming on this week.
Thanks for having me, dudes.
Anytime. We'd love to have you back at some point. But leave a like, subscribe, hit the bell, and we'll see you guys next week.